everyone. As you can see, Mayo and I have come together again today to talk about our newsletter for August. And of course, in the newsletter, as we sent it out in our old way, we've put a lot of little titles in there about what we're going to be talking, or what we've talked about, we're going to be talking about in this video. We want to start with just a little bit of attention towards what's happening in the world right now. Now, of course, this is a world of duality, so we'll start, if you will, with a little bit of negative news, because if you look at the news for what's going on in the UK, it's happening in America with some of the British banks over there. There's a lot of things being brought to the surface of how they have bamboozled us, how they've stolen from us, how it's been one goal, it's just been profit, make as much money as we possibly can, and it doesn't matter who we hurt in the process. It's all coming to the surface. And in that light, it might seem extremely negative. You've also got the euro that they're expecting to fail. Well, you know what, folks? Yeah, it's a visual picture of what's happening in a part of the world. And then you've got another parts of the world where there's war still going on. There are millions, well, not millions, but thousands every day being killed. There are also parts of the world that are still very hungry, or they're starving and they're fleeing from their own countries, so they're dying of hunger and thirst. Well, that's a picture of the world. Yeah, that's a part of it. But we want to share a little story with you right now. And this made a very, very deep impression upon us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Last week I visited a yoga session, and the leader told a beautiful story about a tribe,
yeah,
in Africa. Yes. Yeah. How they
there was somebody had
the crime.
He committed a crime, or he made a really bad mistake, whether it was a crime or a really bad mistake, but in other words, it wasn't really good what he'd done.
No.
So the whole tribe had decided, well, yes, well, we're going to put this person right in the center of the area that they gathered, and we're just going to see what we do with it. Well, hey, this criminal, if you want to call him a criminal, let's just use that word for a moment. And then the tribal elder, he started to speak.
Yes.
But perhaps with the way we think, we would have expected judgment. They were going to punish him. They were looking for punishment, ways to punish him. But to our surprise, what happened in this little story was the tribal elder started to talk about some of the beautiful things that this person had done for the tribe.
Yes.
And then the person next to him started to talk about some of the beautiful examples of this, the wonderful things that this person had done again for them. And this went round the whole circle of the whole tribe, just looking at the very positive aspects of this person right in the middle, this criminal in the middle. And you can imagine that's a totally different way of looking at somebody that had made a mistake. Because basically that's what all crimes are. Somebody had made a mistake. Whether they chose to or not, consciously or not, it's not important, it was a mistake. But instead of looking at the mistake, they'd gone and looked at all of the wonderful aspects of this person. Now, I don't know about you folks, but if I was that person that was expecting a punishment, and all of a sudden I was getting all of these positive things told about myself, I would never, ever make that mistake again. I would never ever commit that crime again, because I'd know that all of those beautiful things that were said about me, I wouldn't want to even go there again. I'd want to hear some more of that great stuff being told.
Well, what they do is they empowering each other.
Yes.
The energy raise up.
Yes, instead of going down into a lower vibrational energy, what they've actually done is not only lifted that young man up, but they've lifted the whole tribe up. Lifted the energy of the whole tribe, and every single one of them stood up and gave him a hug afterwards. Yes. So you can imagine this young man kind of being in tears afterwards, but maybe they were all in tears a little bit, but they were in tears of a higher vibrational energy of love.
Yes. And it's all about where we put our attention on, to the negative or to the positive.
Or to the positives. And the next step in this journey is the next thing that we want to talk about is the Olympic Games.
Yes.
Have you watched a little bit of the Olympic Games? Did you watch the opening ceremony? One of the beautiful things that Mario and I certainly do a lot of work on is the divine feminine and the divine masculine. Did you notice, folks, as that ceremony opened, there were some countries there that for the very first time, women from their country were allowed to participate. Isn't that a huge leap in the evolution of them countries too? Okay, they came in all covered up and whatever, but hey, they were there. That's the first step in those countries.
It's an opening for them.
Yeah, and I've seen interviews during the phase of the Olympics that they were talking about how the Olympics has developed since about 1920, 1930, how in those phases the first times the women were coming into the games allowed to even participate. I mean, in those years it was very, very, very much a patriarchal society. The man made the rules. And most of those old fuddy-duddies, they didn't want the women participating because they thought, well, no, that's the kitchen sink and that's the only right that you got. Yes. Bearing babies, looking after the kids, doing the housework and all of that sort of stuff. That was their attitude. That was their job, and you do that and you're not going outside of the house. It started back then. And of course there've been phases of growth in between times. But and there are pieces coming to the surface as well about women's rights, equality. Emily Pankhurst, that's one of the things that springs into my mind, how she fought and with her companions fought for ladies' female rights. And that was another growth spurt, if you will, to bring female into equality. Now, if you see that beautiful part of the journey and then you look at the Olympics now, and certainly look at the presentators, there are more women now presenting than there are men. And even though the men are sat next to them, there's a beautiful harmony, there's a beautiful balance, there's a beautiful game being played. But the qualities of both are really shining through, and you can see it and you can feel it. Because it's not just the presentators. Have you watched the public? Yes. Have you watched the audience?
It's really beautiful to see.
It's phenomenal.
Each country are happy for every medal.
Yeah.
If it's a person of his own country or another country.
No.
It's all about the presentation, the together, light, love, joy, empowerment.
I mean, goodness gracious, we know that the British can be a very chauvinistic people, but that's something I'm kind of missing a little bit here in these Olympic Games, because we're seeing a gymnast from Holland doing an absolutely beautiful routine, and watching the British journalists, how much joy and pleasure that they were getting from this young man. And we've seen it all through the sports, all of these journalists from all over the world. Yes. And look at the public, how they're really creating a volume, a higher vibration of energy, of appreciation.
Yes. Of light, of energy.
Just loving, and that's such a beautiful word there, just loving what's going on, how they're accomplishing their goals, but how they're doing it together. And look at the sports, the athletes as well. You know, if an athlete who was the champion the previous year, look at how they're going to the new champion and giving them hugs. There are so many beautiful positives to take out of this Olympic Games.
Yes, but it's not only in London. All the people that watch television, they can feel
that these games are different.
Yes, they feel the light, they feel the love, and they grow too.
Yes, yes. So it's coming through the telly. If you can't be there in London, it is coming through the television, and it's touching every one of us that are watching all around the world. And it's a beautiful thing, because when you look at what's happening, remember we were talking about changing negatives to positives, making that choice. Focusing on, instead of the negative, the positive, because if the financial world collapses, hey, guess what? It's not a negative thing. Because then at last the power that those that wield the financial institutions will be over, and will together, all of us together, just like is happening in the Olympic Games, all of us together will be able to make new choices, and it'll happen rapidly. So please don't go into fear. Look for the positive. We will be free, and we will create our own heart's desires. In a totally different way, we will be free. And that's what you're seeing also in these Olympic Games. A heck of a lot of joy, love, passion, freedom. It's an example of what's coming, folks. Just around the corner.
It's a wave of positive energy in our whole universe.
Yeah.
And we all know that this will grow if we pay attention on it.
Yeah. If we concentrate and focus, and like Mario said, give attention to the positives, the beauty, the light, instead of going into fear and all of that stuff back there, we, in doing this, will actually change all of that.
Yes.
And that is something that we're absolutely certain of, and we know that you know it too. So our message today is to look at how you are looking at the world. Look at the messages that we've given today, and it's your time to choose. What are you going to choose, folks? That, the fear, or that, what we just talked about? The balance, the harmony, the light, the love. Because as you choose, and the more of us that choose this together, the sooner it'll happen.
The new earth
Yeah.
is already starting.
It is already being created through all of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. We hope we have shared our enthusiasm, our love, our light with all of you with this message. Now it's your turn. Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.